Joplin authorities rush a man to the hospital after a train pedestrian crash.
The president signs a new law drawn up to combat hate crimes. I'm Deborah Alfarone at the White House with what it'll do and why some say it doesn't do enough.
And tonight, dealing with restless leg syndrome and other ailments that rob us of sleep.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A man's in the hospital tonight after he was struck by a train in Joplin. This is KOAM News at 5. Authorities say that 42-year-old pedestrian was hit by a train at the intersection of Murphy Boulevard and South Wisconsin. They say the man lost an arm. No word on his condition or why he was on the tracks. Plans to erect a statue commemorating the Spirit Tree could soon move forward. The Spirit Tree was painted in 2012, a year after the Joplin tornado, memorializing the strength and spirit of the community. 6 years later, the tree fell and has been down since. Soon after it fell, resident Doug Hunt had the idea to create a metal statue replicating the tree, but then another major event got in the way.
We had a lot of great momentum and moving forward and securing who our artist is going to be, and then the pandemic hit. And that, coupled with the fact that the capital campaign was underway for the Cornell Center, it's not that the project was put on hold. Efforts to move it along were put on hold.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear what will happen with the project from here. Hundreds of displaced pets were reunited with their owners following the tornado, due largely to a collaborative response between the Joplin Humane Society and the ASPCA. They say they provided emergency shelter for more than 1,300 animals over a month-long period. They ultimately reunited more than 500 pets with their families with the help of mass new coverage.
It was critical to the success. I mean, the ability to communicate to the masses and make sure that everybody that was affected by this tornado had an opportunity to hear about this, whether that be on TV, radio, newspaper.
Although some pets were never reunited with their original owners, more than 700 others found new homes thanks to a mega adoption event. The rain goes on and on and on. Nick Kelly.
It's not an all-day washout at least now, but that rain chances that we saw again today and mostly cloudy skies that we're seeing from 7th and Rangeline kept us mainly in the lower to middle 70s as far as temperatures go for today. Some of us aren't seeing any rain. Others, we're seeing light to occasionally moderate rainfall as more moisture pulls in from the south. And this will continue for at least another day before we finally get a chance to trend drier. And thankfully, as we approach the coming weekend, starting tomorrow. Let's see temperatures right now, lower to middle 70s across the board. Some mild evening, but eventually a very slow drop off. We'll be in the lower 70s by 6, 70 by 10 o'clock, 69 by midnight, dropping back to around 67 degrees. We've got some more rain chances on the way down, but again, we thankfully trend drier for the weekend. We'll see how the weekend's shaping up here in just a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Nick. The U.S. House has narrowly approved $1.9 billion to fortify our capital after the January 6th insurrection. Democrats pushed past opposition from Republicans to provide emergency funding to harden the complex with retractable fencing, a quick response force, and police training. Passage came a day after the House approved the formation of an independent commission to investigate the mob attack on the Capitol. Both measures now face an uncertain outcome in the Senate as most Republicans object. May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and today President Biden signed a bill designed to combat a surge in discrimination against members of the AAPI community in the U.S. Deborah Alfarone reports from the White House.
President Biden signed the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act into law 2 days after it passed Congress with broad bipartisan support.
I'm proud today that Democrats and Republicans have stood up together.
The bill aims to combat hate crimes against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders by providing grants to local police to identify hate crimes and to states to set up reporting hotlines, expanding public education campaigns to boost awareness and outreach to hate crime victims, and creating a new position at the Justice Department to expedite the review of hate crime incidents.
This bill brings us one step closer to stopping hate, not only for Asian Americans, but for all Americans.
The bill was written in response to the dramatic increase in hate crimes since the coronavirus pandemic began. The group Stop AAPI Hate says that there have been more than 6,600 incidents between March 2020 and March 2021.
Stop Asian hate!
The issue picked up national attention in recent months due to several high-profile attacks, including the shooting spree at 3 Atlanta area spas back in March that killed 8 people, including 6 Asian women.
Asian Americans are tired of living in fear.
While advocates call the measure a critical first step, they also say it does not go far enough in addressing the underlying causes of the attacks or defining what constitutes a hate crime. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
More than 100 Asian and LGBTQ organizations oppose the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, saying it does not help other marginalized groups. After today's signing, the Attorney General called the bill, quote, an important step toward protecting everyone in our country from acts of hate and intolerance. Texas Governor Greg Abbott signs one of the most restrictive anti-abortion measures into law. It bans the procedure as early as 6 weeks into a pregnancy, before many women even know they're pregnant. About a dozen other states have enacted similar measures, although federal courts have mostly blocked them. The Texas bill is scheduled to take effect in September. Colonial Pipeline CEO Joseph Blount has admitted he authorized a $4.4 million ransom payment in response to this month's cyber attack. The attack led to a shutdown of the Colonial Pipeline's fuel delivery operations, which triggered panic buying and gas shortages across the Southeast. Those shortages still linger in some places. Just ahead, dealing with an ailment that robs many people of their sleep, and the link between LASIK surgery and the pandemic. Those stories next in Health Watch. Here's an eye-popping new coronavirus health development. There's more LASIK eye surgery because of pandemic eye strain and fogged up glasses. Frustrated people tired of aggravated eye problems during the pandemic increasingly turn toward more LASIK eye surgery procedures to rid them of their eye problems. Experts saw a 16% jump in LASIK procedures in the final months of 2020 compared to the same period in 2019. New research links red meat intake, poor education, and heavier alcohol use to an increase in colorectal cancer in people under age 50. U.S. Task Force recommended this week that men and women get checked starting at age 45. Getting kids to move their bodies can help their minds. A new study in the UK found more physical activity was linked to greater emotional regulation, which predicts higher academic achievement. A survey by Consumer Reports finds nearly 70% of Americans struggle with falling asleep at least once a week. There could be various reasons why people have a hard time sleeping, but in some cases, you might have solutions. Looking to get some Z's, but having a hard time falling asleep? Before you chuck it up to insomnia, you may want to check to see if it might be something else.
It's very important to rule out other sleep disorders, as some sleep disorders can mimic insomnia.
One of those is restless leg syndrome.
You have this sensation in your legs that you really need to move your legs. We can prolong it for up to an hour.
Even though there's no cure for restless leg syndrome, avoiding caffeine, getting plenty of exercise, and warm baths and massages can relax your leg muscles. Another thing that can mimic insomnia is a delay in your circadian clock.
Usually, adolescents, teenagers, naturally start having a delayed sleep cycle.
It can result in excessive daytime sleepiness. To lessen the effects of that, keep a constant wake-up time that doesn't vary more than 2 hours, even on the weekends. Finally, if you're feeling tired during the day, it could be sleep apnea. Sleep apnea could put you at a greater risk for a stroke and heart attack. It's estimated that 85 to 90% of people with sleep apnea don't know they have it. Inform your doctor if you experience snoring, daytime sleepiness, or mood changes, helping you get the right diagnosis to catch some quality Z's. Having jet lag can also make you have difficulty falling asleep. A very low dose of 1 to 3 milligrams of melatonin Taking 2 hours before bedtime can ease the symptoms of jet lag. And that is a look at today's health news. Later in Consumer Watch, a big change ahead for the F-150 pickup.
Rain chances this evening, but we do trend drier for this weekend, thankfully. Forecast up next. Mother Nature must really like the movie Groundhog Day, because we're just stuck in the same weather rut that we've been in for the past several days now. So needless to say, cloud cover, yeah, check. Rain chances pick back up after we got past the morning drive, and some of that is still out there as we get this early evening underway. But this time around, today's rain chances not leaving much behind, at least at first glimpse. 0.2 of an inch on average, but any accumulating rainfall mainly on the Kansas and Oklahoma side. But all this rain that we picked up ever since Friday, it has allowed some local rivers to rise. A string of flood warnings along the Neosho River from north of Chanute all the way down to about Commerce. We have the Osage, Little Osage, and the Marmaton starting to run a little higher than normal, maybe some minor flooding in some of those spots. And these flood warnings will eventually expire between Friday morning and as late as Monday evening as we go into next week. Even though some of you aren't seeing any rain right now, more moisture just continues to get pulled in from south to north. So on the Kansas side, most of you are getting a break in the action right now, and the rain has shifted east of I-49, but nothing crazy, just mainly light to occasionally moderate rainfall, and at least we're looking dry from 7th and Rangeline as we take you outside to Joplin. 72 degrees, an east breeze at 7, humidity sitting at 84%. This morning, after we all started mainly in the upper 60s, we could only make do with temperatures mainly in the mid-70s, either at lunchtime or where we're sitting right now, from 71 in Iola to 75 in Parsons and Welch. Lower 70s is where we'll go for the rest of the evening, then eventually back into the upper 60s as we head into your Friday morning. Let me take you to the water view of the lower 48. Let me show you the setup. Nothing at the surface is driving our rain chances. We're focusing on our next cold front, though. That still wants to come into play, but not until Tuesday and the middle of next week. However, we do have a stubborn upper level low finally lifting back up to the north, and this upper ridge is still poised to eat away at our rain chances and keep us warm, especially as we head toward the weekend. But this evening, the rain chances out there will continue in a good scattered fashion. And then during the overnight and the start Friday morning out, we'll back things down to at least a few scattered showers as lows drop back in the upper 60s. Going into the afternoon, a little drop in our coverage of rain chances, but we'll still hold on to scattered rain and some thunderstorms. Underneath otherwise mostly cloudy skies. 67 in the morning, 74 by noon, highs around 78. Now let me take you to Friday night into Saturday morning. One good push of moisture could bring some rain chances in the morning. And some of that could clip Joplin and I-49, but most of it will be on the Kansas and Oklahoma side. But that's just during the morning. I think we trend a lot drier and definitely brighter as we go toward your Saturday afternoon. 67 in the morning, 75 by noon. Still can't rule out a stray shower around the noon hour on Saturday, but the afternoon, we look really good with highs topping out right around 80. The 7-day forecast, the rest of it has highs staying near 80 for a good portion of the stretch. 81 on Sunday with maybe a few random showers. A random storm Monday, otherwise we're quiet with highs near 80. But sticking with Doug's pattern, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, that's when thunderstorm chances ramp up, and some of those could try to bring a severe threat our way, but thankfully not for this weekend now.
Good reason to stay in touch with the weather forecast certainly next week. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jake. Hurricane season could start early for the 7th year in a row. The National Hurricane Center says a weather system in the North Atlantic has a medium chance of becoming something stronger. If it does, it's going to be named Anna. The center predicts hurricane activity will be above normal again this year. One of America's best-selling vehicles goes electric. We're going to check it out in a moment. First, though, we recognize a World War II veteran from Redfield, Kansas. Keith Daniels was a tail gunner in the U.S. Air Force. He flew in 50 missions over Italy. Staff Sergeant Keith Daniels, a four-state hero. The FAA has hit American Airlines' largest regional carrier with a warning. Investigators say they found evidence of unsafe and poor piloting by multiple Envoy air flight crews over the past 2 years. The FAA detailed in their document 9 incidents in 2019 and 2020. Having some buyer's remorse after buying your new home? Well, you're not alone. A new survey by Bankrate shows 64% of folks between 25 and 40 have some regrets after buying their new home. When baby boomers between 57 and 75 first bought their homes, just about a third of them said they had some remorse. Younger people had various problems with the purchase. For 15% of them, it was location. 14% said their home was either too big or too small for their needs. Major automakers have released a number of new electric cars. Now that includes one of America's best-selling vehicles, the Ford F-150 pickup. Reporter Errol Barnett got to take it for a ride.
Now we're going over our grassy moguls, which can test the approach and departure angles.
As a development engineer, it's Anthony Magagnoli's job to see just how tough Ford's new electric truck really is.
And these are pretty steep.
Yeah.
Now, Ford is betting on the future that the best-selling pickup in America is ready for the electric revolution.
It was very important for our customer that this didn't look like a science project. It needed to look like a truck.
Linda Zhang's task was to electrify this icon as the chief engineer for the F-150 Lightning.
There we go.
She was more than happy to tell us about the truck's ability to tow up to 10,000 pounds and be a backup generator for your home.
Let's see what this baby can do.
But her favorite feature to show off is its acceleration.
Kick it.
Shooting from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 4.5 seconds.
Wow.
563 horsepower and 775 foot-pounds of torque. That speaks for itself.
Why is Ford doing this now?
I think this is an indication that Ford believes EVs are ready to go mainstream.
Car and Driver's Eric Tingwall.
They are making the most popular vehicle in America an electric, thinking that they can tap into that huge audience, a huge customer base, and get them excited about EVs.
But less than 2% of cars sold in the US are electric, and Americans bought more F-Series trucks in the first quarter of this year than all EVs purchased last year. Plus, the segment is getting crowded.
GM's going to be competing in this space. Tesla obviously has the Cybertruck coming. Rivian, a new electric startup, has a very cool looking EV coming.
The Lightning's baseline model is priced at $40,000, is available next spring, and can be reserved with a $100 deposit. Errol Barnett, CBS News, Bruce Township, Michigan.
The F-150's standard battery will travel 230 miles on a full charge. Google is using its artificial intelligence tech to help you with skin problems. The big tech company created a new tool that uses your phone camera to take a picture of the problem area, then looks up what it could be. The app is still pending the green light from the FDA. Tourists can see the Mona Lisa again. The doors open for visitors at the Louvre. The museum had been closed for more than 6 months due to the pandemic. Final check of the weather next.
Mouth art.
Yeah.
The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, a verdict in the case of a Quapaw man accused of sexually abusing a minor and illegally possessing parts of protected eagles. Plus, more on the proposal for a spirit tree sculpture in Joplin and the story of a Kansas teenager recognized for helping the homeless. CBS Evening News, KOAM News at 6. Some of Hollywood's most iconic memorabilia is going up for auction. Indiana Jones' fedora, Harry Potter's wand and glasses, Batman's utility belt are among the items that'll go to the highest bidders next month. The Los Angeles prop store is expected to rake in more than $6 million with that auction. Looks like Genie's bottle also. I don't know which incarnation of Batman's utility belt that might be. There have been a lot of those. At any rate, big bucks involved. Rain ahead.
Yeah, rain chances this evening and scattered storms again tomorrow with highs near 77, but we dry out throughout the course of the weekend. Maybe some random showers Saturday morning, but we're dry for the afternoon with highs near 80.
See you right back here at 6. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.